Greetings, YouTube. Today we'll be reviewing Ranger Confidential by Andrea Langford, Living, Working, and Dying in the National Parks. This is a book about park rangers written by one of their own. Andrea Langford was a park ranger. And while the book does cover a number of rangers over her career, it concentrates on four of them, herself, another woman, and then two men. And one of the things that kind of took me by surprise, I think, is that how often they have to deal with dead people. Not just the people that die from natural causes, but rescues that go bad, criminals, suicides, natural disasters, of course, and then there are people who are pushing themselves to their limits in ways that cause them to not make it out of a park alive. And sometimes they get people out when they're alive and they die later, and sometimes it's recovery. And it really is. It was depressing. To see these folks doing that kind of work and ending up with PTSD. But there are also stories in here that were far less serious than that. And everything in the book is factual. She had said it up front that she did take some narrative license with certain things. She changed a few things because people didn't want to be known. She condensed the number of activities to a shorter time span for narrative structure. But the events themselves did happen. And I'm not going to spoil all the stories of those four rangers because it's kind of important, and I think that you discover them on your own. But it was compellingly written. It was very enjoyable. It rolled forward in a very nice manner. It really pulled me in. And that's one of the nice things about a good book, that if it can pull you in, it's like you find yourself just like flowing with the writing. That's a sign that an author has done a good job. As opposed to finding, sometimes I'll read a book and even if the topic itself is fascinating, sometimes it's a little bit like trying to trudge through snow. You're having to work for it. This book didn't make me work for it. I really wanted to keep reading, and that's always a sign of a good author. I don't think she's written anything else. Well, she wrote articles for Backpacker, Paddler, and Camping Life. So I don't know. Maybe she has more books by now. Because this is like 2008, I think. But there's the author. The author herself in the back. But beyond that, one of the things that I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by was the level of sexism and misogyny that both she and the other woman faced while becoming rangers and during their career as rangers. I believe that at the end of the book, at least, the other woman is still a ranger in Grand Canyon, I think. Because a number of these rangers move from park to park over the course of their career because just change of pace or personal predilection. They just want to change their jobs. And they can do that. Anybody else can, I guess, too, But the level of sexism and misogyny they put up with, and it wasn't just, oh, poo-poo, you're a girl, you can't do this. It's like finding a severed cat head on your desk as a sign that we don't want you here. Or having a supervisor tell her that, well, you're a mother and a wife, you shouldn't be doing these serious rescues, while the father and the husband who is packing up to get on the copter and the boss isn't saying anything to him. That kind of thing. It was somewhat distressing, though not 100% unbelievable. That kind of thing is endemic and systemic in our society. So I really do recommend Ranger Confidential. I really enjoyed it. It moved quickly. I could have, if it weren't for the depressing parts, I wanted to just keep reading about stories about these people. Because when you get a good insider, it really pulls you in and you want to know what goes on in an industry that you have never had an exposure to. I'm never going to be a park ranger. I'm not even allowed outdoorsy any longer. I used to camp a bit when I was younger. But, I'm more of of a car camper, if that at best. Give me be a place with air conditioning and no bugs, and I'm happy. Kind of funny, I don't live in a place with air conditioning, though I have no bugs. So yes, Ranger Confidential by Andrea Langford is definitely a recommended read.